All right, good morning, everyone. We'll get started. I certainly appreciate you guys being here this morning. I kind of wanted to put things in perspective location-wise. Our old women's facility, well, our almost old, but our flooded LCIW facility in 2016 is in the background back here if you're not familiar with the layout. And of course, the new facility is going to be located on about 85 to 100 acres behind. And this road right here you see being built is actually going to be the entrance and front gate of the new women's facility. So I just kind of wanted to put that in perspective. And the other thing I wanted to do is say this is the beginning of the end of 6 years of temporary assignment of our female population. That started in 2016 with the flood. And I can't say enough about the staff and the incarcerated population that has really handled it well. I've been out and visited and talked to a few of them this morning. Some are here today, which is good. So it's been a real tough transition, but it's been one that has been handled very professionally, and I can't say how much I appreciate that. So today, it's only a reminder of the flood of 2016 that forced us out of the facility and set in motion those 6 years of temporary assignment of LCIW in local jails, here at Hunt Correctional Center, and now at Jetson Correctional Center. I certainly, again, appreciate the patience there. And of course, today we have with us our special guest, the Governor, and Governor, we appreciate you being here today. Appreciate your leadership. And everything that you do for our department. I'll say a little bit more about that after you speak. So I want to welcome you to the podium. Thank you, Governor.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming out. First of all, it's hard for me to believe it has been 6 years, but it has been 6 years. It was August of 16 when we had the second big flood of 2016. And I remember coming out here with Jimmy, and the National Guard was working so hard, but despite their very best efforts, we just could not protect. And despite the efforts of the ladies at LCIW, the inmate population, we just couldn't protect that facility from those floodwaters. And so here we are 6 years later, and the secretary will tell you about every other month I called him and I say, when are we going to get all that paperwork signed and go out there and break ground? The wheels can move really slowly sometimes on recovery. And federal bureaucracy is its own creature, and it's got its own timeline. And FEMA can do stuff really in a hurry if we are trying to prepare for a storm. But once you get on the other side of it and you start recovering, it can be very difficult. And then you finally get to where you think you need to be, and all the supply chain issues and the inflation issues come in, and all of a sudden you don't have the funding that you needed. And so then we got to figure out, okay, what can we do? Because I am not going to build a second-rate facility. We're going to have a facility here that is state-of-the-art, that make sure that we have every opportunity for vocational training and education, that there's skill certification, things like cosmetology, horticulture, welding, heavy equipment operating, all of that sort of stuff, just to name a few, because it's important for our state. And so I'm really happy to be here today. And I can also tell you that I'm happy to be here today because this is the first time in years where this time of the year I wasn't working out of GOSEP, because we had another natural disaster. Now, if you got some wood, you knock on it, because the peak of hurricane season historically is September the 10th. So we haven't gotten there yet, but please make sure that you're praying for protection from natural disaster, even as we prepare for them, because that's really important. So the journey to get here today has been years in the making, and I appreciate the work that everyone has put into getting to where we are today. I look forward to breaking ground here in just a moment, and then seeing this facility rise up. To give you a sense of the scale, and I know you see a I guess that's an architectural rendering there of what we expect it to look like. We're talking about a $150 million investment, 938 beds. It should take about 2.5 years to complete it, and it will be built to withstand a 500-year flood. And we're going to build it in a way, Sheriff, that we don't exacerbate flooding problems in this area. Because I was here in 2016, and I've been at the intersection of East Baton Rouge, Iberville parishes many times when we have flooding, and I know how that can impact this area. So that is our commitment, and we're going to deliver on that. You know, in 2016, same year of the flood, when I took office, my ambition was to make sure that we effected positive change in the state, that we improved quality of life, and part of that was how we approach criminal justice in Louisiana. It was several months later that this facility flooded all over the capital region, in fact, causing billions of dollars in damage. Obviously, it destroyed the state's only women's prison, displaced about 1,000 ladies across at least 4 different institutions. And the next year, however, we were able to work with the legislature to pass historic criminal justice reforms aimed at reducing crime, increasing public safety, and obviously reducing the state's prison population. Since that time, we have saved $152 million, of which 107 have been reinvested for reentry services. Not $107, $107 million has been reinvested in reentry services, the Office of Juvenile Justice, community grants, and services for crime victims. The state's prison population is at 26,600 today. The peak was 40,583 in 2012. So we have come a long way. Now, quite frankly, that prison population is still too high. And although for several months we gave up the title of having the highest incarceration rate in the nation, we regained it because the other states aren't sitting still. And they're continuing to make progress as well. But if you compare and contrast where we are today with where we were then, we are making significant progress. In addition to the actual number of people incarcerated, the probation and parole population has decreased significantly by about 28,000 since its high of more than 73,000 in August of 15. And so we have about 45,000 individuals under supervision today. And what this means is that our parole officers, they now have a manageable caseload. They can actually supervise the people that they're supposed to be supervising. That makes it much more likely that they're going to be successful and that they won't be reincarcerated. So all of that is really important. We've had a number of challenges, and just when we thought it couldn't get worse, COVID came in March of 2020 and really added a new set of challenges. So I know firsthand how frustrating it can be to see progress occurring and then have it kind of halted and delayed and so forth. But we are here today, and I think that's an indication of perseverance, and I want to thank the Secretary and his team at the Department of Corrections for their hard work. And I know we have a lot of work ahead of us. But I do look forward to working with all of you to make sure this facility is built. Now, I told you how much we're going to invest, $150 million. I told you it's going to take 2.5 years to build. Within that timeline, within that amount of money, the scope of the project does not officially include a chapel. My commitment to you all, but especially the ladies at LCIW, is on the first day that this prison opens, there will be a chapel. It will be complete, and it will be ready to serve the spiritual needs of the ladies at LCIW. And we will work hard to make sure that happens and that is not left off the to-do list until some future time. We will get it done at the same time. Right, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank all of you, and God bless.
Yeah, when you said that, Governor, I looked around a little bit at a couple of people that I've been working with on that project to make sure they heard you loud and clear. So the first thing I kind of want to do, and it's kind of in front of my remarks, is personally thank people that have been involved in my everyday life and in my work life and has made this day possible. First of all, the Governor, thank you so much for everything you've done for our department throughout the years that we've been together. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated working with you, both professionally and personally. So I want to say that in front of everyone. Commissioner Darden, I don't believe is here today. Commissioner Darden's always been a man you can meet with, talk to, and work with. He's done a lot with Undersecretary Bickham and I, meeting with him, doing a lot of different things, not just this facility, but our operations in general, and the people that work in this department know what I'm talking about. We've come a long way, and this year especially with pay raises and the things that are going on there. Our legislators, some of who here today, I hate to start mentioning names, but because I'm going to miss somebody. I know Senator Price, Denise Marcel, I don't know if Senator Barrow's here or not. I know she was planning on coming, but I don't think she's here. I hope I don't miss anybody, but I appreciate the legislative process, what we've been through, not only getting this going, but all the other things. And Nally's going to talk a little bit about the female population here in a little bit. Of course, our local leaders here, anywhere we have a facility, we want to be good neighbors. I think that's important, and I know the mayor's here, I know the sheriff's here, and I'm sure we have a few others here that represent this community. And just to let you know how important you are to us and working with y'all, doing things if we need to respond to help or helping us when we need help, it works both ways, and y'all know that. Of course, our Department of Corrections staff, quite a few are here this morning, our leadership team, our unit wardens that are out there, and most of them are here today in the audience, our corrections staff that work 24/7 every day of the week and every day of the year. And people lose sight of that sometimes when on Christmas and Thanksgiving we're here and operating when everybody else is at home with their families. So that's a tough job, and they're doing a great job. And of course, finally and not least, the LCIW team. Warden Thomas, Warden Boutte, retired Warden Boutte is here today, and I appreciate him being here today because he was an instrumental part in when all this was happening and helped us manage that. Deputy Warden Morgan LeBlanc has been involved, I know, here at Hunt when the ladies were here, and also now at Judson's done a lot. All the LCIW assistant wardens, department heads, and of course the staff members who've been steadfast in supporting the mission since 2016. Many who face their own personal impacts from the flood, including a new work location, no notice, or time to prepare. Thank you all. I appreciate it. So for me personally, I think I need to share this with y'all because I think this is really a humbling experience for me, both professionally and personally. My earliest connection to this facility was a young child. I went to school at St. Gabriel High School, which is now East Iberville, right across the track, not too far from here. And as I grew up in school, I was a first grade through 12 high school. I remember at recess at what was known as the Louisiana State Penitentiary Unit for Women that was moved in 1961 across the track. There's still some facilities over there that are still up. I can remember at recess and even during class, seeing working in the fields and that kind of stuff. So all that had some impression on me and it gave me some incentive. Maybe that's why I'm here today. And certainly I've appreciated that, and it means a lot to me to be here today, standing in front of you as Secretary to be able to make this announcement. Professionally, this facility is close to me as I started my career in the department. As I said, in the female facility on River Road in the 1970s, again, which is across the track. Today, the home of the LSU Experimental Station, and most of that we swapped out. All that was corrections property. Everything you see around here was swapped out with LSU, which is now an experimental station that surrounds this facility, Hunt and LCIW. So when what I consider the new LCIW, which is behind us, that was flooded, I moved over and working in the business office and started in 1973, so you can do your numbers there. It's been a while. And I've grown up in this department and have appreciated being a part of this department and having some impact as it operates. Now, I would mention the population of the facility when we moved to that facility was 98 prisoners is what we had in 1977, 98 prisoners. That, through the era of hard-on crime, grew to 1,000 when I left there around 1980, in that era. So again, for these reasons, I'm proud to be here today for this event, and never imagining that I would be here with this title. So when the flood in 16, there were a little warning. I'll mention that the event was a testament to our ability to react quickly in emergency situations. We moved 1,000 females and as many records and personal belongings as they could carry in less than 24 hours. Thanks to local partners and our DOC staff, including the sheriff and his people, we made a successful quick exit to safer housing when the water won the battle over our pumps and sandbags. We moved out of the facility with every expectation that we'd be moving back to clean the mess up and resume our operations. Forever in my memory will be the images of that facility in the weeks and months that followed, when we waded through waters that seemed as though they would never recede. Today's groundbreaking marks the end of a very trying season for both the staff and the females housed at LCIW. The facility that we build at this site will be more than just a new prison facility. It will be a facility that reflects the cultural changes we made and experienced in our department and our criminal justice system, as the governor mentioned. This facility will provide more than a place to house those women sent to us to state custody by our court system. It will provide a place for them to have the opportunity for a new beginning. A place designed both to meet the basic mission of our agency while also facilitating opportunities for those ready to change and transform their lives. It is also a new opportunity for our state in how we approach corrections and reentry preparation. It is an opportunity for us to design and build a space that will help us better carry out our mission, both from a public safety standpoint and a rehab standpoint. An opportunity to help women in our care and custody and take advantage of their new beginning. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to be a part of the transformation of this department, and from where it was when I started, even before I started, during those school days. Our leadership is passionate about justice reform and about doing the right things for the right reasons. And I would mention that under the leadership of our governor, the legislature has passed a bipartisan reform that has positively impacted our criminal justice system, as you heard from the governor, and of course our communities. Another example of our work is the work done specifically for our female population by the Women's Task Force since I've been secretary. Natalie Laborde, who's to my left, chaired this work, focusing on improving the outcomes of our female population. She has done a tremendous job in taking the lead with our female population and will share with you some of our highlights of this work and where we are headed next. The initiative is recommended by the task force will be well served at the state-of-the-art facility that we're about to bring to reality. And before I turn the podium over to Natalie to talk about the work and the vision of our females going forward, again, I have to thank the governor for his unwavering support, and to our legislators, not only that are here today, but that couldn't be here today, and thank you for making this day possible. Your vision and support for this change is appreciated. So thank you very much. Natalie?
Thank you, Secretary LeBlanc. First, to preface, it's personally very much an honor for me to be here personally. I've worked under Secretary for many years now, and I cannot stress how amazing it's been to see the vision and the transformation of the department and the criminal justice reforms over these past few years. And so in light of that, just to share a little bit with you about some of the unique work we've been able to focus in now for the females through the landscape of criminal justice reform as a whole. In 2018, the Women's Incarceration Task Force was created by House Concurrent Resolution 27 by former Representative Pat Smith and then later amended by Representative Denise Marcel in recognition that incarcerated women face unique challenges in the criminal justice system. The task force consisted of a very diverse group of female leaders with a variety of experiences, from state legislators, judges, an assistant district attorney, Louisiana Department of Corrections representation from at our facility level, and our formerly and currently incarcerated ladies, and then also leaders in our community in the faith-based realm and other services. I was personally requested by this group to chair it, and my vice chairwoman, Sarita Saib, I believe, is here. And I'll be honest with you, when they first approached me, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I grew up with all boys. I'm not used to being around that many women at one time, and so I was a little hesitant. But she challenged me. She said, you know, you're uniquely postured where you are in working with criminal justice reform as a whole, but also in the Department of Corrections, to really be a voice for these ladies who are often not intentionally, but can sometimes be overlooked in the broader policy decisions regarding the prison population, because they represent less than, I believe, 5% of the total population. So I accepted that challenge, and it has truly been one of the greatest honors of my career, to work alongside these people and to learn more about the females' unique needs. Secretary LeBlanc and Chief Smith specifically, they both gave me their full support and said, look, we challenge you and the team to be really bold. Nothing's off the table. We're here to support you, whatever you need. And they came through with that. Over the course of the next 2 years, the task force members, we discussed topics related to women's incarceration, reentry. We visited several jails and prisons. We heard from guest speakers. We heard from our correctional officers on the front lines. We heard from our ladies who are currently incarcerated, and certainly we all know how challenging these last 6 years have been in the temporary living situation. We developed subgroups. We delved deeper into the domestic violence that often leads women into the criminal justice system. We looked into models of family reunification, the programming available in our institutions, and then what other states were doing, the mental health care needs, LGBTQ experiences, community supervision. Nothing was off the table. And in June 2020, we issued a report to the legislature enumerating recommendations, a broad set of recommendations that I won't be able to go into today, but really aim to reduce recidivism and increase public safety and the outcomes among women, better addressing their unique needs. But the reality is of so much in that report and what we recommended, both on a policy level and a legislative level, hinge on having the appropriate space to facilitate that. And that is really why today is so important as well. One of the examples was, and I'm sad to say I did not know this, is that when you are pregnant and you're in prison and you give birth, you have about 1 day to spend with your baby while you're in the hospital, and that's not intentional, I think, to be harmful from no one intended that, but it's just the reality of the space, and we don't have the ability to facilitate that bonding with the child and the mother. And that was an example of something that really stood out to me personally, and I remember sharing that with Secretary LeBlanc, and from that moment he said, we are absolutely going to find a way that in this new facility that's not going to be the case anymore in Louisiana. And certainly with the governor's support with that as well. So things like that. I kept him up to date weekly on all the things that we were learning, the realities about the current situation for the ladies through the task force. In fact, people don't really know this behind-the-scenes story, but the plan development was well underway at the time that this task force started meeting. So a lot of things were mostly finalized. And when I shared with him some of those realities, I remember him calling the architectural firm and saying, hey, we got some changes we need to make. And he and I went and sat with the firm, and we used some of the feedback that I had received from the ladies who are currently incarcerated about what would really be important to them in a dormitory-style setting, which is the reality for public safety and security, making sure that there were some privacy spaces for that, ensuring that we had that mother's ward for babies for mothers who would be giving birth and have the ability to spend time with their family. So to summarize, the rebuild of Louisiana has brought an unforeseen, unique opportunity to reimagine what corrections looks like in the state and become a model for gender-responsive corrections and recidivism reduction. And for me personally, when I look in this audience, and same as Secretary, there's so many people who have played a critical work, but the few people I want to personally recognize are Representative Marcel. She has been such a champion for the ladies, and I've worked alongside her during session for many years, man, and she's fearless. And when she believes in something, she's not going to hold back. And to the governor personally, I remember those early days of criminal justice reform before the session even started. And I'll never forget this moment. We were sitting in a small meeting behind closed doors, and you were really weighing on a lot of the different challenges we were faced. And you turned around, there was a Bible behind you, and it said, "This commands us to remember those in prison as if it were ourselves." And I've seen you really model that. It's an often overlooked and forgotten people, and you've used your time to really champion some of the most forgotten people. And lastly, there's some representatives here from Healing Place Church, which is my home church. It's a place that I walked into many years ago. And I remember that the mantra was pick up a towel and not a title, and use your life to serve your community. And I have Miss Ann Morrow and Pastor Mike Davis and Julie Finnicle, and they co-lead the LCIW Healing Place campus there. And I know how instrumental that has been in so many of your lives, and that's so critical to the work we are doing here to transform the entire correction system. So to summarize and to close out, today is about recognizing the opportunity that we have a state and a community to continue to redefine corrections, to create a place of hope, rehabilitation, and strong community-involved partnerships to help the people who walk through our doors, hopefully that they are better than who they were when they leave. They are better than who they were when they first came in. And I really look forward to continuing all this work with you all, and to one day walk through the doors of this new facility, hopefully someday soon. So thank you with that, and I'll introduce Warden Kristen Thomas of LCIW.
Good morning. Thank you, Natalie. Good morning. It is truly a great day today that has been 6 years in the making. I am excited about the opportunities that this new facility will afford the ladies in our custody. I received a master's degree in forensic psychology, so my specialty is in the mental health field. I've been in corrections for 16 years, with the last 9 months as LCIW's warden. It has been a rewarding career. I get great pleasure out of helping and seeing the changes of the individuals in our care. In the short time that I've worked at the women's facility, I have come to realize the importance of gender-responsive programming. This is why I'm happy that we will now have a facility designed with rehabilitative spaces and a community-oriented philosophy. The department will continue to follow the mission of helping treat and transform the ladies in our population. Things are different today than they were when the old LCIW was built in the 1970s. We know that incarcerated individuals are in need of specialized care, so we are able to gear our new facility to accommodate their therapeutic and rehabilitative needs. The new prison includes dedicated housing space for those who have been diagnosed with mental illnesses and space for group and individual therapies. The centralization of our mental health care provides for more efficient treatment and monitoring of this population, which is critical to achieving successful outcomes. In addition to meeting the mental health needs of our incarcerated ladies, this new facility will also provide us with medical space tailored to the gender-specific needs of our female population. To be specific, we will now have a postpartum unit to care for our ladies who are pregnant or have just given birth, just as Natalie had mentioned. This is truly a state-of-the-art facility that was planned with every aspect of rehabilitating and preparing those in our custody for successful release. We will also have, it's going to be actually over 30,000 square feet of dedicated educational and vocational space for the ladies. I am confident that our population will thrive in this new environment. I would also like to thank Governor Edwards and Secretary LeBlanc, legislators, and our department leaders who have made it possible for this historic project to actually become a reality. At this time, we will do our ceremonial groundbreaking. I would ask everyone to please join us. It's just behind this area over here. We do have a few special guests who we have invited to grab a shovel, and we will go turn dirt.
You failed to mention the chapel in our comments. The chapel is in this.
The chapel is in this.
Huh? I'm just getting some beer. About everyone.
That happens quite often. The others. I don't know. I haven't really. We're gonna get organized here. It didn't shock me at all. Stand out in the sand. So, Warden, I'm gonna take go right here, Governor. Yes, sir. Oh, you want to shake it session? Sorry about your shoes there.
Them hills ain't gonna do good.
Yeah, y'all should have told me I was standing in the stand, Governor.
Our hills ain't gonna do good.
Y'all asked me to do this.
Just finish.
Yeah, I should have.
All right, so somebody out there is going to have to take control of this and tell us who we're looking at and when we're supposed to turn this shovel.
All right, guys, let's do it in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
I bet we need to do it again.
I bet you need to do it again. Give us another countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. That was good.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
Okay, Governor, about them new shoes you said you were going to buy.
Here's a Payless spray.
Let's have saw shoes like that.